It's time to take a TO. You're listening to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kurt Cross. Each episode, we take you inside the DMV sports scene and beyond. Sponsorship and advertising opportunities are available. And now, welcome to this week's episode. It's time to take a TO. Here's your host, Kurt Cross, with Coach Steve Turner.
Welcome to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner. I'm your host, Kurt Cross, and we welcome you, our audience, to episode 6. You can find us on Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, and just about anywhere you get your podcast content. We are a weekly podcast where we talk sports and life. We might jump into some tough subjects, and of course, we talk WCAC athletics and then some. Thanks to our new listeners and, of course, our legacy audience. This week, we told you it was going to happen, and when we talk about it, we've got to be about it. So this week, Take a TO means reaching back, and we welcome none other than Coach Casey O'Neill into the studio. He's going to join us in just a second. Coach Turner, how was your week, sir?
You mean my weekend?
Your weekend. Your weekend.
It was actually great. I had an opportunity to get away with a few of the players.
Okay.
Head up to New York and participate in a invitational event.
Like the Big Apple or the state?
New York.
Oh, the Big Apple.
In the Bronx.
Okay, the Boogie Down.
The Boogie Down Bronx.
All right.
So got the kids got to play a couple games, got to be a part of I would call it like a camp skill development situation, and good trip. And
Good trip. Good eats up there?
the boys hit the bodegas.
Okay.
They were having chopped cheese.
Uh-huh.
I think one of our guys got themselves a nice Cubano sandwich. It was good, man. For me, it's always just good to get away with the guys and watch them bond, watch the camaraderie get built. I'd say even more than just playing hoops this weekend.
Like sometimes off the floor is where you build those relationships, right?
There's no sometimes that's where it happens on the bus ride.
Oh, the bus rides.
Those 4-hour bus rides, the opportunities to stay in rooms and hotel rooms together. That's where you see the bonds for the teams get built. And I'm excited because this is a group that really loves playing with each other and playing for each other. And we got to see a little bit of that this weekend.
And you didn't miss any Gonzaga football. Y'all were on a bye, right?
We're on a bye this week.
All right, so perfect weekend to get there.
No doubt.
And now, we welcome the Buckaroo. Coach O'Neill is back in the studio. Hold on. Let me get you some love there. Coach O'Neill, welcome, my friend. Where the hell you been, fella?
Guess who's back?
Oh, Lord.
Again.
All right, you got your little 15 seconds of fame. Can you get out of the studio now?
Buckaroo's back.
The Buckaroo is back. Talk to me, brother. Where the hell you been? We don't talk about everything because we're going to get into some of that later.
Listen, it was a breath of fresh air seeing you when I pulled up on the street. Nice hug, and then to see my friend, Coach Steve Turner, come in here to see your children, to see your wife, to be back in the studio.
Here we are.
It is a great Monday night.
No doubt.
You're still ugly over there.
Hey, man, I do my best.
I got new glasses and everything.
I do my best. You can see much clearer.
I was a fan. You got something happening in December. That boy cold and grown up, huh?
He's going to graduate. He's going to walk in December, and couldn't be more proud of him. He's got a couple job offers lined up. And
wait a minute, the boy ain't graduated yet. The man hasn't graduated yet, and the offers are lined up.
Internships.
That's how it rolls. Man.
Yeah. So he's got a couple of internships that he did the last 2 summers.
Okay.
Through the major, right? So
right.
instead of getting credits, and that's why he's spending this semester here. And I just went and visited him. Went to this Florida State Clemson game, which was a crusher. They lost in OT, but anyway, we had the best time. I don't care about the game. It was just spending time with him, and yeah, he's gonna walk and then my. Walk and graduate, and then make this decision soon on what he's going to do, and then go ahead.
3.5?
No, 4.5 because of the transfer. So the transfer,
Okay.
all the credits didn't go.
Seems
from
like so fast.
Right?
That's why I said 3.5. That's why I said 3.5.
So I would both 3.5 for lacrosse because he played a couple years of club there, and then he's not playing now, so he's just finishing these credits and. Yeah, super proud of him. It was a tough. Back in COVID, if you remember, they lost their program.
Yeah.
And they all took off and went to different programs. So they went and a bunch of them went to Clemson, and he's loved it. He's loved it.
He found a good spot.
It's fantastic, and I love going down there more than anything.
The visit doesn't take long to get there, right?
Nice 8-hour drive.
I mean, but you can
My
get there.
move, when I went down, I fly to Charlotte, get a rental car, and I'm there in 90 minutes.
Okay,
and
there
the
you go.
flight is like 50 minutes. So Chloe, my middle daughter, is a freshman at Georgetown Visitation.
Come on, man.
And she is
Little Chloe,
little Chloe.
they grow up, don't they?
She is a beautiful, smart, talented young lady, making her path there at Visitation, which is a wonderful school.
She's a high schooler, brother.
And it's the first Gonzaga football game she went to. I was like, I think I'm going to go down in this game and just kind of
Right,
sure.
just
Hey, Daddy's over here. Here.
no. You just wanted to watch the game.
Yeah,
You weren't watching her.
yeah.
You were just watching the game, right?
All the boys, I'm like, beat it, boys. Like, look the other way. Get out of here. So she's doing great. Super proud of her. It's no joke that academics and the homework, as you know, I mean, sophomore year, even freshman year is a big adjustment. And then my littlest is in third grade, little Claire. So life is good, and wife is doing well. She is the
One of our former sponsors, the Tamara Cusick team.
correct, and they are doing well. Erica's great, man. Everything seems to be good, and I'm sure we'll talk about me and business and the things we're doing a little bit.
Damn sure will.
So, I'm
So
just
that's what's
happy to
up.
be here.
All right. Well, you were here. My week was good. Just more work. It's homecoming season, so I'm behind the turntables doing what I do and all that stuff. My crew is out there and all that jazz. Let's get to our first commercial break. We will be back with the starting five.
Guess who's back?
You're listening to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kirk Cross.
The starting five. Welcome back to Take It to You with Coach Steve Turner. We've got Coach O'Neill with us, and I'm your host, Kurt Cross. It's time to jump into the starting five. This is where I have 5 questions for each coach, and they will have 30 seconds to answer each question. If they go over their 30 seconds, it's back. And you're going to I got a ding with your name on it.
Do I get 15 seconds like old times, 10 seconds to answer
I
this
mean,
thing?
you always got your fair time.
I'm getting 30 seconds.
Oh, please.
Come on, we didn't gang up on you or anything, did we?
Yeah, right.
That was Chrissy. That was Chrissy with the quick
Chrissy.
ding.
She controlled the dings.
Right, not me. Coach Turner, have you seen these questions on my script?
I have not.
Coach O'Neill, have you seen these questions on my script?
Negative.
All right, well, this sounds like we have a righteous starting five since Coach O'Neill is our guest this week. And by the way, I just want everyone listening and you to know, I've asked him about our roster of guests that we're going to have this season.
Okay.
You want to know what he told me? Not until Casey comes. You have to break the seal. Okay. We're not doing any guests until Casey gets in the studio. He didn't want the phone. He didn't want you over Zoom.
The floodgates will open.
The floodgates will open. Now that you've been here, everybody wants to step into the
Let's
studio.
go.
All right, so you're going to get first shot.
Okay.
You got 5 questions coming
Ready.
right now. Assemble the halftime entertainment for the next 5 Super Bowls. Which artists or groups are you choosing?
Wow. I'm going to go with Taylor Swift.
You're
how can we not?
You're Swifty.
It's all in our faces and in our social media feeds and on TV.
You got to call Kelsey first, though.
If that happens, I think that would break records.
All right.
I'm going to go with Dua Lipa. I think Dua Lipa would be a good one there. There's a trend here. I think you kind of have to. Okay, so we got a little bit of some pop. We got to do a little bit of country. So right now, I think Morgan Wallen or Bailey Zimmerman are some of the country folks right now that I think would do a good job.
All right.
I think Drake would be fantastic.
Oh, you want Drake there? All right.
I think Drake would definitely bring some people. And then we're going to go old school.
You gonna call Ozzy Osbourne? Ain't you?
No, I think there's a way to do if they did at the Super Bowl in Vegas to do the Sphere thing with that U2's doing out there. You know
I want to go to that. I want to go.
I want to go to that too.
All
Those
right,
are my 5.
You too. I mean, I was quick, like you never missed a beat.
I was thinking the brain was working. It doesn't usually work that fast.
Where's
I'm
Johnny Manziel? Where's Johnny Manziel? I want to know where's Money Manziel.
What was that episode? That
was like season 1, wasn't it?
What happened? Steve, you know what I'm talking about?
I said something about the Browns.
Right.
You know, they better off with Johnny Manziel.
And Johnny Manziel was like in jail.
He was like not even on the team.
about?
He was like on the Oilers or the Texans or
He
wherever.
playing somewhere in Europe or something, or in Canada.
All right. Coach in the PLL championship once or attend the next 5 PLL championship games as a spectator?
Man.
You get to coach the championship game once.
Yep.
or attend the next 5? You're getting comped tickets to the next 5.
Coach it.
Give me
the game. I mean, I love that idea of being at all of them and seeing who wins it each year. But being able to be on that sideline is very special, and to be with that group of men in the locker room, pregame, halftime, afterwards, and just giving it a shot. Coach.
All right, a new car of your choosing under $100,000 every 2 years for life, or a new home now free of charge, your forever home, but with no car ever again. So a new car under $100,000 every 2 years for life, or a new home free of charge, but you'll never have a car again. So I guess you got to Uber.
No 30-year mortgage on this thing. It's
free. It's yours, baby. You got to keep up the maintenance, I guess, but it's yours.
I go home. I go home. Yeah,
real property.
We'll figure it out. That's why there's Uber. You know what I mean? I
didn't say Erica can't drive you.
Right. I'm going home. 100%.
You're going with the home.
Yeah.
A personal chef once a week for life, or any restaurant of your choosing whenever you want for the next 3 years.
I would go with the restaurant. I would absolutely go, because bad a cook as I am, my wife is amazing. Right, and having that chef would be fantastic, and we preach all this, fueling to the kids we train.
That's a chef for life, though.
But I get it. But just
when you get old and you have to
travel
puree your
and
food,
have some fun with it. Bring the date nights back and take the wife to these different restaurants.
You can have a date night at your house.
Correct, and I enjoy those the most. But
all right, I don't need to know much more about that.
My answer is my answer.
Oh wow, he's dropping the mic. My bad.
Here they go again.
It only took what? We were only like 12 minutes into the episode, and you're busting my chops already.
Ding yourself.
Oh, you know what? You want a ding?
Yeah.
There's a ding. All right, there's a ding.
Last question. We're gonna go back to last week, Steve. Steve's taking notes.
We're gonna go
He's
back.
Ready for this.
So he gets more than 30 seconds technically, because he's been thinking about these answers.
True.
You can go 15 seconds for me. I'm gonna get mine out.
We're gonna go back to last week, Steve, when I was asking you questions. You have to keep 3 and eliminate 1.
Okay.
Baby. He gave me a tough one last week.
Amazon, Google, Apple, or ESPN. You got to get rid of 1. Oh, man. Yeah, man.
Amazon, Google,
Apple.
ESPN, and Apple.
You got to get rid of 1.
I think it's Amazon. I think I'm getting rid of Amazon. Now, my wife would say opposite. I think she's
getting rid of Google. What's she getting rid of?
I've got to think about that one. But the reason being is Google is I'm obsessed with Google. I'm obsessed with ESPN, obviously, and Apple is phenomenal with the phone. So it's going to be Amazon.
You getting rid of
her?
Amazon.
Her ESPN. See ya. Beat it, ESPN. She could care less.
I want to ask you another one. A spin on that one.
Yeah.
You get to buy 1 stock. Which one you buying? Apple, Google, Amazon, or ESPN?
I think you
stop. ESPN is a Disney company, so you're kind of like buying Disney.
I feel like Amazon is the one I'm going with, even though that's the one I'm kicking out. It's
right. You believe in their upside, but you're getting rid of them on the island.
Correct.
Steve, assemble the halftime entertainment for the next 5 Super Bowls. Which artists or groups are you choosing? You said 15 seconds.
No, he's going to rattle, bang, bang,
bang off. No, because that one I did write down after listening to it. But I would want I'm going to go 5-1.
Okay.
So at 5, I would like a play off of all of the people that Pharrell has laid out a banger
So you want Pharrell's people?
Yep.
The Pharrell crew. Okay.
I want whoever Pharrell. I want at least 5 different people that Pharrell laid a banger for.
Okay.
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran? Good.
Drizzy Drake.
All right, so y'all coincide on that one.
Then I'm going to the second baddest woman in the game.
Okay.
Adele.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to go with the one that I keep saying, versus if you're listening, blow the internet waves up, CB and Usher together.
All right, you want Chris Brown and Usher together. What if he brings them out in Vegas? What if he brings Chris Brown out?
It's quite possible.
You're saying they're going to blow the roof off that stadium if that happens.
If they do that, it's a wrap.
Okay. Here's your bonus. After Bill Russell, who has the most rings as a player? This is courtesy of my barber, Gene. He sent me a graphic with this. You can answer too. After Bill Russell, who has the most rings as a player? And this person has 10 rings. He's the only one with 10. Of course, Bill Russell has 11.
As a player, not player coach.
Correct.
That's another trivia right there. Man.
Are you writing the questions or am I writing the questions?
Is it Walton?
No.
No.
No, he didn't have many.
Is he a Celtic?
Yes.
Wait. Is it
Yep.
Heinzman?
No. He's up there.
Kuz.
No, he won like 63, 64, 65, 67, 68, 69, 70, and like 73 or something like that. He has 10. Sam Jones.
That's right.
I did not know that.
Sam Jones has 10.
DC Sam Jones.
As a coach, who has the most rings? This one's easy.
Phil? No.
Phil.
Phil, he has 11.
Yeah.
6 with the Bulls, 5 with the Lakers. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting 5. The starting 5.
You're listening to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kirk Cross.
Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other popular podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word.
And now, back to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kurt Cross.
You know, when Coach Casey gets in the studio, it messes everything up. Well, at least it messes me up.
Here's what happens.
That's how
Here's
I
what
coach
happens.
chaotically.
No.
I make chaos happen.
Here's what happens. When the three of us are here together,
Right?
it is you two are smitten with each other. Excuse my. You know what? I get
That's a subjective statement.
the left out.
You left the hell out.
That's
So
your opinion.
we're starting 5.
Right?
Coach O'Neill gets all the questions.
You get starting 1. It's
Well,
the starting 1.
I get starting 1, and I guess because there's 5 answers. My brother over here,
We're just trying to help the listeners.
Mr. Cross, says
You know me longer,
starting
right?
5's
I've known you
over.
longer, right?
Coach Turner doesn't get his 4 questions.
All right, well, I'm gonna give you 4 more. I just wanted to make sure you were on point. Make sure you were paying attention. Dak Prescott just scored a touchdown. It's about to be a tie game. Chargers, Cowboys. Look.
Boo.
So, Steve, coach in the NCAA National Championship game, hoops, or attend the next 5 national championship games.
Coach in the NCAA championship game.
That's all there is to it. No question.
No questions.
So you want a new car of your choosing under $100,000 every 2 years for life, or a home now free of charge, but you'll never get a car again.
I'll never get a car if I can't buy my own car.
Nope.
Metro,
You can Uber. Leah can drive.
Uber.
Jared can drive you.
I'll fix my own house and get that car.
You want a car every 2
I want
years?
a car every 2 years.
Under $100,000, you can make that happen.
Oh, big time.
All right, what are you gonna buy? What's your first one?
Well, I'm gonna go to people I know. Still get the Range Rover.
Right? You want that range?
Matte black, all.
Matt is all of it,
Rims,
isn't
Matte
it?
black,
rims,
black on black on black.
black rims too.
Everything.
Yeah.
Black leather,
Black leather,
black everything,
smoked out.
smoked out. You got like a tank or something? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Steve. I see how you roll. I already asked that question. A personal chef once a week for life, or any restaurant of your choosing whenever you want for the next 3 years.
Personal chef for life.
I'm going personal chef once a week for life. You can make me some meals that I can warm up later in the week as well.
Yeah, but that experience.
Is this your starting 5 or
I
his
can still
starting
go out
5?
I can still go out to dinner
Steve
whenever I
wanted me
want.
to.
You still can go out to dinner, yeah.
Yeah, but
All right, you can still have
Might
date
not
night.
get a
You
table.
non-romantic over there. You can still have date night if you had a personal
and
chef.
specifically where? I could be in New York City. We could be in Philly. We could be
Well, that personal
New
chef,
Orleans.
a personal chef also could have the skills to be able to walk into any restaurant and cook for us there.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a background check. I mean, is this chef living in the house? I mean, are we remodeling the bathroom for the new chef and everything? I mean,
We're doing the whole 9. He's
mean-
not living in the house.
yeah, beat it.
Get out. All right, Steve. We're going back to last week. Keep 3, eliminate 1. Amazon, Google, Apple, or ESPN. Got to get rid of 1.
I'm gonna go with Amazon.
Get rid of Amazon. You got a story behind it, or
No, I mean, there's enough places to be able to get online and buy stuff for discounted prices.
There's also the mall, right? You can still walk into the store, right? All right, buy 1 stock: Amazon, Google, Apple, or ESPN, which is Disney, and Nat Geo, by the way.
I'm going with Disney stock.
You buying that Disney stock?
It seems like it's been forever. and keeps being forever, and it keeps on coming.
Yeah,
and if you look at what they've done, especially right now in the streaming world, they're killing it.
They are, but I feel like they've laid a lot of people off in that company. I guess the ESPN. I'm seeing, to just.
Well, that's because they were getting rid of those high salaries, and you know what?
They're starting over.
Yeah, they're starting over. They're getting a new crowd in there, and
they some of the people they let go I didn't like, but they did need some. They do need some new.
They need some new blood.
They need some new blood.
And I did not mind hearing Doc Rivers this weekend with Doris Burke and Mike Breen. I did not mind hearing that. I thought I would not like to hear Doc. I didn't mind hearing Doc this weekend.
Who's your guy, Tyronn Lue? That's your coach with the booster seat.
He's with the booster seat. And I hope they fail this year because with the new rules in the NBA, you've got to play these guys. You can't sit them or they won't be an all-star, which means they won't be getting extra money and all this, that, and the other. And I think we're going to see what he's made of. But I think you and I talked about it. They've got to keep somebody because they're building this billion-dollar stadium. And if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are gone, who the hell is going to be the face of that franchise? Listen, folks, Coach Turner's the other half of this weekly podcast, but today we have Coach Casey O'Neill back in the studio. So, gentlemen, this is familiar territory for us. Coach O'Neill, let's give some love to your pursuits. But first, I want to educate our new listeners on the three of us and how this came to be. Coach Turner, for years, had a podcasting idea or, something he wanted to do, and it was missing something. So Coach Turner and Coach O'Neill, who both at the time worked at Gonzaga on I Street, got to talking. The pandemic hit. The idea took a bit more shape. We sat down, we tried it out, and we made this thing happen for 3 seasons, 75-plus episodes. This is a number y'all might not know, 232,000-plus views. That's what we got. I looked today. It was 232,000 and some change. That's how many views we got in 75 episodes. We had a pretty good run. We had great guests, great content, a loyal listener and viewer base, and I made a friend out of Coach Casey O'Neill. I already knew Steve, folks. To date, our best episode is when we talked about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I think our second best episode was the January 6th episode. So it's not about sports. It's not all about sports. It's not all about the laughs, and we have all of those here in the studio. But we got to some serious stuff, too, and we got to talk about some things that mattered at the time, that continue to matter, that was unscripted. It was called Race Unscripted. If you haven't heard that episode, go back, search Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. And Race Unscripted, to this date, was our best episode. And we got into it. Not like there was an argument in the studio, but we got into some stuff.
Yeah.
We got into some stuff. After 3 seasons, the pandemic was quieting down. Coach O'Neill, you had an opportunity. You were at Gonzaga as the assistant AD under a great guy who we gave love to earlier this year, Joe Rada. Yeah. Please tell our listeners about that opportunity, where that led, the work it took to get there, and where you are now with it.
Amazing to think back to 75-plus episodes. And I remember driving back at the beginning of all this it was actually driving back from dropping Cole off at Clemson when he had made that change. And we're on this long road trip, and I just texted Steve and said, let's do a podcast, man. I want to do something. I mean, we're so bored, all this, all these things, COVID going on. But to answer the latter of that question, I worked at Gonzaga and served that place for 21 years, coached 21 years. And
you were a student, right?
I was a student. So 25 years of my life, well over half my life was on I Street and just loved it. But something was missing after those 21 years. I mentioned Cole, and he graduated, and I just wanted something new, right? I just wanted to do something new, and along came a young man named Mike Mabry, and we connected and talked about doing something that is going to have a massive positive impact on youth sports and youth athletics, and took a gamble on this venture and being
scary, right?
Very scary, and being a business owner and running that, and now we're 2.5 years into this, and we are thriving. Actually, it's kind of funny. Thriving is what we call our group training in the fall. It's called Fall Thriving.
Okay.
And that means, we're teaching kids thinking, movements, recovery, connection, and fueling. And so it's more of a holistic way of training young athletes. But I can tell you honestly that leaving Gonzaga and making this change was one of the hardest things I've had to do in my life. And I've done a lot of tough things, and especially who we mentioned, Joe Rada. That conversation with him was one of my palms were sweaty. I was extremely nervous to have to tell him after serving with him that long that, I was going to move on and do something different. And of course, like Joe, we love, was like, I'm proud of you, man. Go do this thing.
Effective leaders, they want your success as well, right?
Correct. I mean, we were talking off air earlier about people we've worked with and people we know, and you want to see them succeed, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean you're not sad that they're moving on and they're making their own decisions, but that's life, man. People got to go out and do what makes them happy. And I didn't know if I would be extremely happy.
That's what you don't know if you're happy until you try it, right?
Until you try it, and to take that gamble with with 3 children, one in college, one getting ready to go to high school, and a young little grade schooler, but to do this and to see the impact it has on not only boys, who I've coached boys my whole life, but young ladies, and to work with middle school kids, high school kids, college kids. It's amazing. I have these college kids come in and essentially internship with us in the summer, and they, could have played at St. John's or Gonzaga or Georgetown Prep or wherever they come from, and to learn the sports psychology and to learn how to coach, from me, or to coach how Mike Mabry coaches, and to see them and let them know that they can literally come out of college and have a job with us and work with us and make a really good living teaching and enhancing the lives of kids through the sport of lacrosse. And we're just getting started. I mean, this plan is to be baseball, field hockey, basketball, tennis, golf. I mean, it's just endless. And I think we provide a service that is really important in this day and age when you talk about mental performance and up here between the ears that a lot of kids just kind of ignore. They just do what they're told. They run this kind of, same old Groundhog Day system. And it's like, we're asking you to continue to train that way, but to take a step back and recognize what's going on in your head.
Steve, I know we both are going to have some questions for Coach O'Neill, but I'll start off. You start this thing off 2.5 years ago.
Yep.
You take a chance. You say, I'm going to do this. I got to believe, as a business owner myself of 30 plus years, it's very hard. I've seen a lot of people in business. I've mentored a lot of people in business, and a great mechanic doesn't make a great business owner. Those are two different things. A great computer programmer doesn't mean that he or she needs to start an IT company. People in their lanes that are professional are great. You have to be able to be both. You have to manage people.
Yeah.
You have to lead people. You have to either do or outsource payroll.
Yep.
You got to figure out insurance. You got to figure out a safe workplace. You got to figure out all these things. Yeah. Was that the harder of the two? Because you already knew the sport. You already knew the psychology behind the sport. Yeah. Talk to me about that part of it. You have to set up an office. You have to order paper clips. And, you have to do everything to get yourself ready, right?
I think the biggest unknown was, how's the day-to-day going to work, right? The best, look, we always tell the kids, you show me your routines, you show me your schedule, and I'll show you that outcome, right? And you look at some kids, and obviously they got a room that's not clean, and then they're always late for school and this and that. And it's like, obviously
there's no wonder
they're behind the 8 ball a little bit. Excuse me. And so that unknown, I will say, Curtis, I was really lucky to have leadership, sort of like an umbrella above us, in a man named John Rothenberger, who was the reason that I felt safe enough to do this. So we kind of had those, general managerial duties, like the payroll things, already in play, like people that are helping us work.
That helps, right?
So, but the first 1.5 years was, and even the first 5 years, boots on the ground. I'm out there on the fields, working, hustling, making sure, selling, marketing, working with Mike, new ideas, new strategies, and just the two of us. And now we're at a point where we have 4 full-time employees, full-time. Our women's director, named Lindsay Muniz, who's amazing. Great guest, by the way, down the road for her. She was played at Stanford. She's the head coach of the women's Spain national team.
Why did we talked about her at some point?
We might
maybe
have
when you brought her on.
Yeah. Might have. Yeah,
maybe I feel like the Stanford connection.
Amazing. And to have her and this young man, Alec Wortman, who's our director of mental performance, and then we have about 2 to 3 full-time, part-time coaches that come in. So they are on a payroll, but they're not, that 40-hour, 50, 60-hour week. Sure. And we are just learning and growing, but at the minimum, what we do really well is that one-on-one contact, that group training, and that teaching. And so going into schools now and working with schools and partnering with schools is becoming a real thing, and helping coaches be better coaches, helping even like wellness directors at schools coming in there. We offer what's called a program called Cognitive Climb. So anybody around the country can sign up, and they pay a subscription, and their kid for 20 minutes a week can be a part of these series. So the month of October is all about Confidence 360. You're just spending 20 minutes and learning about how to choose confidence. What does that mean? What does that look like in my life? What are the little exercises I can do? Last month in September, it was emotional intelligence, and then we do focus. And so it's just a way to kind of expand this out. And sometimes we fail, right? And said, hey, listen, that's not working. Boom. At least we tried it. We know what works. We know the certain things. And so we're always trying to put new things for our old customers, right? And then for the newer customers, we're just showing them the old models and the things like, that they're going to be excited about. So there are still nerves, but it is it's using creativity, and it's like I said, confidence. It's being confident in what you're doing.
I want to stay in that same lane, and I want to ask this question to you, Casey. Son in college, in the midst of transferring schools, trying to figure things out. 2 young daughters growing up. What makes you move and decide that I'm going to bet on me?
What the hell were you thinking is what he's asking.
No, not really what the hell are you thinking.
Because he had confidence in himself.
I asked this question because I think there's so many people out there who want to do something different in life.
But it's
they're
They're
scared.
scared money, right?
They're scared. So for me, I watched you grow. I watched you live it down on I Street for so long. And then when you came and we talked about you making a move, like, never asked you this question. Like,
what are you doing?
What made you bet on yourself?
It was really hard because I am a creature of habit, and my wife will tell you I don't like change. I mean, I really don't like change at all, and it scares me. Even just we were talking about cars are moving and things like that. It's like whoa. I don't want to. I just want to stay in my lane and do what I'm doing. And I think personally, it was. I did bet on me, but with the support system of Erica being like, I think this is amazing. I think it's going to be amazing for our marriage as well, right? For us in this chapter of our lives, when you serve a school like you do at Gonzaga, it's 60-hour, 70-hour weeks. You're always down there. You are always on the clock. 80 hours a week.
Right.
You were always on the clock. And when I had no other choice, honestly, like I was like, I need to do this not only to be more present around my children, even though the girls, they come on road trips and they come down to games and they love it and it's super cool. But in that factor, and I mentioned John and I mentioned Mike, and I had like probably 15 meetings with those guys, and there was a guarantee for at least the first year, right? This is the salary. This is what we're going to do. They gave the, but after that, like, it's up to you to get this, this HIT done, right? You got to get it done after a year, and then you'll see the business go. And these are smart people. They are caring people. They're not, they supported me through that, and here we are 2.5 years. And honestly, in startups and businesses like this, you've got to get to year 5. Like in coaching, like it's usually year 3 when you're like, okay, I've got my routine, I got my guys, I got my kids that have come in through here. It's usually around year 5, and right now I'm betting on onboarding the right people, like the right people that want to coach the way we believe should be coached. People that are going to believe in the mission, and it takes that outreach. So to answer your question, I was nervous as all get out. But something like really hit me that I was like, I either I'm going to do this now or I'm going to be here for another 21 years, and then I'm going to be 65, retiring from there. And
which is fine, but you'll wonder
it's
what
totally
if, right?
fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. And it's like I finally came to the realization too, Steve, that like I don't owe anybody anything. I owe my family and I owe myself that, because I always felt that pressure too. Like every season, it's like all 45 guys on the roster, all the JV guys got to make sure everybody's happy, make sure every parent's happy. And it's stressful as you know, you're trying to please everybody. And once you say like, listen, man, the only person you got to please is yourself and those little kids and your family and your wife. I mean, it's
that buckaroo.
Growing up, baby.
Taking that leap of faith. You take that leap of faith. It's working out. It's growing. You're happy, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
Right, you're
it's
happy.
A lot of fun.
What is Mabry Academy? I mean, you've given us a lot of stuff here, but give me.
Sure.
I want your elevator pitch.
Sure.
You and I'm giving you 60 seconds right now.
Yep.
And let's say I'm not suggesting that you guys are, so don't go ringing our phones. But let's say you're looking for an investor or you're looking to bring people into the fold.
Sure.
Why Mabry Academy? Tell me what the heck you do. Don't tell me why. Tell me what the heck you do, though.
Obviously, we use sport as a vehicle and a tool to work and better the lives of young people, which in this area, you've got wonderful coaches like Steve and the coach that you were when you coached. Mm-hmm. That's not the case a lot. Right. Youth sports is taking a slippery slope and has for the past decade or two of obviously the days are gone of all right, play football or soccer, and then I go to basketball or wrestling, and then I go to baseball or lacrosse, and then I play a little tennis, and then I did that. It's like it's gone, right? And so what you see is the highest and highest of pressures on young people starting in ages 5th, 6th grade. You see families traveling the country. Now, again, if your child loves it and you have the financial needs and you're excited to do that, you just see these families just being pulled left and right all over the place, whether it's AAU basketball, club lacrosse. I could go on and on. This soccer club or this and that. And so we wanted to put something in place that can train a kid who may never play a JV, make the JV high school team, and the kid that might be an All-American and going to Duke or, North Carolina in a space where they learn what sports psychology, what men's performance means, right? So like I said before, we have thinking, movements, fueling, recovery, and connection as our 5 main bases of teaching, of working with kids, okay? So thinking positively about themselves and thinking positively about the world and the people around them, right? Average brain has 80,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those are negative for all of us. It's just the way we're all wired. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's raining. This, dang, I run out of gas. Boom, boom, boom. Flip the script. Have the kids think a little bit more positive. Again, whether All-American or not All-American. I know this is longer than a 60-second pitch.
It is. You're about to get a ding.
When it comes to fueling, right? Teaching these kids to how to properly fuel before you train, after you train, snacks, what it means to eat a whole food, things like that, right? What's the word? You tell me some parent doesn't want to, if your kid starts to eat well, movements, right? What are you doing? Obviously not everyone can be super fast, but teaching them the right movements and the way to get there. Recovery, putting the dang phone away for a little bit, being a little bit more in tune with stretching and sleeping and just being present. And then connection. I mean, the cheat code to me in life for kids, especially being on your floor, if you have a kid who's an amazing athlete, but he cannot connect with his teammates on the court and talk about a slide and getting through, they're not going to play. So connection and communication is so important. We basically do one-on-one training. We do group training. We work with teams. We work with boys. We work with girls. We do mental performance only. Somebody can sign up and literally work, and you can be assessed, and that young lady or that young man can work with our mental performance director, and we can clearly identify through assessments, you are super confident, but your routines and habits are terrible. You don't know how to relax. You don't know how to do this area. Your focus is really bad. You have no imagery. We're going to help you. We're going to help you with those things. That's a lot. Sorry.
Mabry Academy versus XYZ Institute. Why is my child going to Mabry?
Connection. Because of the human connection. Steve asked. I mean, I believe in myself now, and I didn't, Steve. There were times like coaching down on High Street, I did not believe in me, even though I had a great surrounding.
And a bunch of hardware.
Right, and a lot of hardware, but still was scared and nervous and just like not as confident. I've never been more confident in the way that I can coach and the way Mike can coach and the people like Lindsay and Alec and the people around us. That's why, if you spend 10, 15 minutes with me and I can meet that child and get there, the connection, the human connection, as opposed to you're just another number at my group training or you're just a number at my this workout and just show up and they're just revolving through like that connection, we're going to know who the kid is and we're going to actually find out instead of like, yeah, I'm going to teach you how to shoot right-handed, play defense at 6 feet and have your feet and the way you open up your hips. But then I'm going to do whatever I can to get up here and help that kid be more confident and self-assured. That's why.
Someone was talking to me recently about the different private schools in the area. And when they were looking at they're currently looking at other schools or several schools. And I told them, if you play for Coach Turner, he's going to care about you and support your son.
Right.
I told him that. I said, there are a lot of schools. They got great gyms. They got great facilities. They win this, they win that. But the difference is Coach Turner is going to care about your kid. That's what I told him. And I said, if that's what you want, then, well, I mean, I can only recommend that you go talk to Coach Turner.
Thank you.
What you got? What you got?
That's a fact, though, Steve and Curtis. I'm glad you said that. I mean, I cannot stress enough how much. I mean, I know the way you coach, but there are not coaches like you. It's just not, and so there's a reason you're successful. There's a reason your kids go on and do great things. It's because of the way you coach, and it's because of that connection. What I just said, the care. Like he knows his guys, he knows their families, and we want to do that in a very broad and wide spectrum where somebody can come in and be like, that was the best training. I have a little bit of a routine and things in their head. And so it's exactly what he's doing. But we don't have that everywhere. We just don't.
Well, you and I talked about that, and it is a different world. I mean, season 1, you said you're scouting parents too. And I don't want to get into all of that because that's a whole episode by itself. But that parent behavior, I started hearing the voices more when I stopped coaching and I hear what these parents sound like in the stands. And I've got every play. This past weekend, I was in the gym with, Mike Watson. He's at Poolsville now. GJ was in the gym. Adam was playing over at High Point this weekend in an AAU game. And I'm hearing a parent in the stands, and we're not doing our kids any good by doing this, right? Set a screen. Someone help him out.
Yeah.
The boy just bought the ball over half court against no pressure. Why does someone need to help him out right now? Is the kid listening to you or is he listening to the coach? And someone set a screen. Well, hell, now that everybody in the gym knows what you want your son to do, and there's no strategy anymore. But we got to, and I will tell you, I am not going to pat myself on the back, but this one time, I am the best parent. I'd keep my mouth shut. I don't care. Like, it's not my game to coach anymore. He has to hear it from another voice, right, Adam? And so does Chelsea. You might hear me say, all right, y'all rebound. That might be it.
Box out. That's the only thing
we know we need all that, right?
Nobody box out anymore.
But
so that drives me crazy.
I don't understand what these parents are doing in the stands because, again, if I send my son, let's say my son plays for Steve at Gonzaga, right? I don't need him on that floor wondering if he should listen to me or listen to you, right? He's got to listen to his coach.
See, I don't need him to wonder if he needs to listen to me or you.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
No, I'm being serious. There's a difference. See, I think that's where lies in the problem is the parents think that they know it better than the coaches.
Right.
And I want to go back to something you said about pressure. Casey, you're now getting the coach without wins and losses being a factor.
Right.
How much more satisfying is it? No, I'm being serious. How much more satisfying is it for you to see the wins that don't matter in the standings,
on paper in the state record book, right?
And that no one, and that you're not being judged by. I'm sorry, parents, but I got to call you out by parents who think it's all about the wins and losses, and then it's also all about my child.
Sure,
if he's the guy scoring goals or not, or if he's just most importantly getting the minutes. Like, talk to me about the gratification of coaching without that being a pressure.
It's really cool. And then speaking of those parents, like now they pay us to complain, So
right.
I'm like, before you just hear the complaint. Listen, on a sideline for the 3 months of our season was the best, but the other 9 months, and I think I was on record saying it was just general managerial duties, Groundhog Day over and over and over and over, and dealing with recruiting and the parents. We still help with recruiting, by the way. There was a young lady that came, was close to working with us, and she's like, I just missed the big wins. I'm like, listen, you got to flip those wins. Your wins now or
look a little different, right?
That young lady who you've been training, or that young man who's, really been on the second depth chart of the team, and is persistent and was working. And they're doing the routines and they're doing everything and they're like, Coach, I got in and scored 2 goals. Like texting, you can't wait to text you. I'm like, let's blanking go. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. Let's get that. Or going into, like last year, working with a top 5 national lacrosse program and going in there with a new team and new faces, working with those coaches and seeing something like a water balloon pop and seeing the coaches like, I love that idea. I love that you're working with us in that sense, and seeing a couple of their All-Americans come up and be obsessed with this, you know, the confidence and the pressure stuff. Like I deal with pressure all the time, and teaching those kids just little things that they can do. It's badass. It's really, really cool. But make no mistake, I actually coached this weekend for not a travel team. It's a long story. And I was coaching 7th graders and having a blast with these guys. So I get my fix there on the sideline with sometimes, but now I go to the games just to support either that team or that individual or that coach. Loving to hear the coach call after a loss that we're working one-on-one with. We kind of do a little, you know, consulting and contracting with, and helping him navigate through that loss and finding the good in it. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna stay in this lane. So talk to me about the helicopter parents that now are taking the opportunity to allow you to work with their young men and women, to allow them to see them get their minds right. Do you see a change in them?
A little bit.
In the parents from what their kids are learning?
A little bit. And it's funny you say that, because of course, what parent doesn't want Coach Mabry or O'Neill like for an hour on a Saturday, like teaching their kid how to, like, you know, split dodge or get up the hash and roll back and, you know, finish in front and stick work and stuff. And honestly, that's great. I can do that. And they're excited, but it's telling them and trying to convince them he doesn't need to shoot another lacrosse ball. He's done it because it's like 7 days a week. We need to spend an hour, maybe getting lunch, just him and I, and just going through some of his routine, you know, some of these mental things with him. And so, man, it's funny. I went to go work with a group, and it was a couple Saturdays ago, and it was at a high school. And I walk around, I was like, oh, is there a game going on? I couldn't believe it. And there was what looked like 100 parents sitting in the stands. Like this was their Saturday. Mm. Watching these young kids just practice. I'm like, can't you all go somewhere else and go get some food or something? Like, sitting there yelling at practice, I'm like, this is the problem.
Right.
Remember growing up, your parents drop you off and they're like, hey, if I'm late, just wait. You know, you'll be fine. We're figuring it out.
I'll say this. In my sport, I think.
I mean, I know your door's closed.
Well, I think the man before me, because that was his thing, and I just stayed with it. Like, I watch, even down at our home base, I've watched, because you're an outdoor sport. Yeah, and I've watched the other outdoor sports.
Sure.
The parents sit there and watch for 2 hours. I always say this all the time. What job do they have? Because that's the job I want.
Right?
Because if I can go watch my kid for 2 hours, practice every day.
Sure.
Either I'm making buku money, or I'm married to somebody who makes buku money.
So,
because I don't know. I just couldn't do it.
Here's what I do. Try to preach to a lot of the families is that, you know, there are some great opportunities through all these sports for the kids. I always believe if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But when they're that young, I can't stress it enough. Like, don't jeopardize your entire summer and your entire winter and everything for these kids to have to go to all, you know, like all these events. Like, let's be smart about it, because the kids they're going everywhere, and if they love it, great. But let's be really smart about, honestly, when it comes to recruiting for kids, like, let's get them to be the best versions of them as a player and as a person. And then when push comes to shove and you're going through the circuit and recruiting circuit, I think your money maker is your high school and where you go, where you're with them day to day and day in and out. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I think we just forget about the kid. It's like, go, go, go.
But has that changed because of the specializations? Like, I don't feel like there was that much pressure put on me by my mom or anyone in my family when I was a kid who was a 3-sport athlete. It was never the feeling of, I've got to do this to get to college, or this is my meal ticket. For me, it was always take care of your books. That was your meal ticket.
Right.
Like, and if something came of one of these sports, that was the caveat. That was the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
But I feel like right now there's so much pressure put on these young men and women that if they aren't the best, like, then the world's gonna end. And so the parents become maniacal to a certain degree in terms of what they want for their child. And
what does the child want?
I just
right.
But I just wonder if that. There's no wondering. I know it has, but what I was going to say is I wonder how much of that has created the mental health issues that we see in our kids today.
Yes, I think it's we as adults, right? We always it's just a vicious cycle, right? We come up and the way we've created some of our club teams and like I say, like just the way it works, right? Now it's the only thing, and it's like, well, we're not going to fix it. We just keep going, right? It's not broke. Just keep going and going. It's like, well, how do we take a step back and teach these kids to deal with that pressure? And we're doing it through sport. And so you mentioned pressure and telling a young person how to deal with it, or then being like, what is the best routine for them to deal with pressure, to deal with just being overwhelmed. And make no mistake, the way we train and work with kids, this isn't like holding their hand and kumbaya. I mean, kid comes in there and I'm going to, you sign up and pay to be 60 minutes with me or these guys. It's like, I don't have time for you to sit there and tie your shoe. Like we're going, it's on. And we're going to train hard. We're going to get after it. And then we're going to give you the discipline and the tools eventually to kind of deal with the pressure, which could be taking a step back, slow down to ramp up, take a deep breath. Cooler heads prevail.
Can you have a Mabry Academy Plus for the parent side?
Well, we talk about it. And a lot of times, there's access to the parents. And so, look, once you're our age, you kind of set in your ways. But I hope parents start to understand that, like, what is truly your end game? It's the same for everybody. Let's use sport to give my kid a chance to hopefully get the best academic chance. We know that it's 0.01% that anybody's going to go pro, right? Or 1%, whatever it is. And so if we can learn these lessons, and everyone knows it through sport, like we all play sport because we love it and it teaches you life lessons. But now it's kind of at a cost because it's about win, win, win instead of develop. And teaching kids that the mistakes they made are like, Coach Mabry calls it get better juice. We have to make mistakes, and we're going to make mistakes, but that's how we get better.
I'm a candidate for Mabry Academy. I have a 10th grade daughter, 8th grade son. They both play sports, and all that's awesome. Through this podcast, through knowing you, Steve, I've learned a lot, about how to be the proper parent. Best lesson I've learned in the last 5 years, Adam comes back from a game. What does Steve ask? I think we saw you at a game somewhere. What does Steve say? Did you have fun? You didn't ask how many points he scored. Yeah. You didn't ask who won. And most parents would probably, or most friends of mine would ask, well, how many points did you score? Did you win? Oh, man, you lost. What happened? Well, sometimes you get beat by a better team. Let's just start with that, right? Sometimes that happens. But as a parent, I want my kids to have fun. I want it to be competitive. I want them to do the best they can do. Before each game, and tell me if I'm wrong in doing this. Before each game, what are we going to work on today? You're going to work on being a better defender, better communicator. You're going to, if you don't get a lot of playing time, are you going to be the best cheerleader from the, what are you going to work on today? Whatever that might be. My kids came to me 6 months to a year ago. Neither one of them are interested in playing Division I basketball. Cool. Okay. So what do we want to do with this? But you have parents who are not that way. And I'm not the perfect parent. There's times that Adam's had a game or Chelsea's had a game, and I kind of lit into him after that. That was years ago, not necessarily now. So I'm not the perfect parent, but,
there is no such thing as a perfect parent.
Well, no, you are. I'm looking at him right now. It's you.
No,
it's you.
No, it is not me.
No. You're the perfect product. Your parents were perfect. How about that?
Yeah, my parents, yes. I think so. But.
And I know a Clarinda Carter who might have something to say about it. She was a damn good mom and still is. These parents are missing something. I don't have the formula. Neither of us have the formula. We can figure out, we can identify what's going wrong, but I guess the best benefit I've given to my kids, I wasn't a real elite athlete, so I'm not putting that pressure on them. I played football for fun. I tried to play baseball. I got cut from the team. I played MSI at Burnt Mills for years on the green team. That's what I did. When I played fullback, why? I was a big kid and I had a big leg. That's all. I wasn't a skilled soccer player, but it was fun. And I remember, what I remember about those games? I remember Mr. Como, the coach, and the orange wedges after the game. I remember the team pictures and the moms who brought the drinks, that's what I remember. And I don't think I'm at a loss because I didn't, there was no AAU for me at least, and I don't think I'm at a loss because, I heard about these cats who went to Greensboro. They played, what the hell is AAU? And they got to have, what is this place that does the good donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts?
No, the place with the hot ones with the sign. Krispy Kreme. They went to Krispy Kreme and they stayed in hotels. And I was jealous, but it's that times 1,000 now.
Right.
Where parents are paying, $1,000 a season, plus hotel, plus travel, plus meals, and you can go away for a weekend, Steve, and it's a couple $1,000.
I just always used to remember there was a rite of passage, and for whatever reason today we've gotten away from that.
Yeah, it's outcome driven immediately.
Yeah.
I didn't make varsity as a freshman. What?
I had a parent. Let me interrupt for a second.
Whoa.
I had a parent who played ball, and the first year I had my own program, we did a meet the parents thing after I selected the team, and this big 6-foot-something father who had a pretty good daughter, but she was just undersized. She was very good. She made JV. He came to me and said, "Why is my daughter not on varsity?" And I just told him I just didn't think she was good enough to be on varsity. And one thing you taught me, I had everything down in terms of how you scored here, how you scored there, so we can look at data. Right. It might be my data, but we can look at data. But that was 12 years ago, Steve. I haven't coached in 10 years. And they were that. I was getting that 12. I had another parent who emailed me and said, "Well, you can move my daughter up to varsity at the end of the year." At the end of the year, I wanted to move her up. But as long as your goals are the same as our goals. And I said, "Well, what are your goals?" She wrote back one word: scholarship. That's all she wrote. We're talking about a 3A school at Rockville High School where no one leaves Rockville High School. You had 5 coaches in 4 years. You want me to make miracles now?
Well, it's funny how all this has it kind of transitioned into parents, right?
Right.
We could have a 5-hour episode.
No girl
that.
ever held my feet to the flame saying I better start her.
Right.
It's parents.
And I think when you talk about it, telling the parents that there is an option for the kids to be a little bit more disciplined and a little bit more self-sufficient as opposed to them, right? The parents just know you got to do this, you got to play better, and you got to do that. Taking a step back and letting the kids learn through their mistakes, and then have the routines and the habits to fix it, or be self-aware to just say, I don't want to play this summer. I actually want to maybe get a job and then hang out with my friends. I'm going to take a little time off.
Because you're still teenagers, right?
Yeah.
Take a TO.
Or take a TO.
Oh, here you go.
I want to learn how to swing a golf club or go play tennis or, as you said before, play pickleball.
Right. Steve, you're seeing that more and more. You're in the thick of it. You still love it. You have the support of your family. You have a great Gonzaga community that supports you. And I know you're smart enough to know that the few bad apples can't spoil the bunch. How does a place like Mabry Academy sound to coaches like you? Do you wish more students would be a part of that? What are you seeing? You're a varsity coach. You're a USA basketball coach. Where does Mabry Academy now or down the line fit into how we can, I hate to say it, but fix this?
Well, I think immediately it's the psyche. It's nothing to do with skills. I mean, if you're going to play in any sport, if you don't work on those things, you're just going to be.
You can come up with clinics.
You'll be average.
Coaches like Steve are doing it without studying sports psych. But I mean, you're already a counselor. I mean, you already know these things. He's already implementing that into his players, right? And teaching them whether it's the tough love, but I love you and I'm going to let you go figure this out. There's no issue there. You know what I mean? And so it's the psyche. Maybe, hey, this is somebody that we've always talked and knocked ideas around.
I'll give you an example.
There's a lot of I said, that do not do this.
So you guys hear me in the game. Stick it.
Right.
Stick it. But I don't do it for everyone.
Right.
And I'm sure there's parents who notice that.
Yeah.
Because to me, stick it is earned, not given.
Right.
If you're a guy that can knock it down and not think I want to give you free reign. I want you to have that confidence.
You got the green
I
light,
certainly want
right?
to give the confidence to any and everybody. But you got to be able to do a certain thing a certain way for certain things to be given.
Persistence.
And I just feel like in sport, period, everybody thinks it should be everyone's equal, and they're not.
It's not.
I mean, you heard Steph talk about it recently in reference to you only have this much time with the ball in your hands.
Right.
If you don't do something with it within those seconds, you might find yourself on the bench.
Right.
So what's really cool is something we do. It's called SMTQ. It's a sport mental training questionnaire for teams, and the kids self-assess themselves on like very strategic questions that have subcategories from cohesion to culture to motivation, discipline, breathing, relaxation, all this stuff. And the team does it, and then you collaborate the answers, right? And so we see where the team. So Steve's team is like, I mean, that press is phenomenal. I love the cutter, little backdoor pick. Like, yeah, we know we can do that with our eyes closed. But then we start to look and be like, okay, we are really strong in cohesion and culture is fantastic. But you find these little sort of miscues, and a team can then learn psychologically like how to improve on that. So like we're already that good on the court, right? But imagine how much better we could be collectively in the mental game in these areas. And it's amazing to go in a room with a team and they see that. And it's like, and this is how we're going to do it. Because I'm not going to try to change culture and cohesion. It's perfect there. Doesn't need it.
Okay, would you say that?
So that to me is the coolest part, to see a team be like dialed in between the ears, making sure they're good. Like, I mean, make no mistake. What did Phil Jackson do? What did he make Dennis Rodman and all those guys do?
Man, you.
Okay,
I was going there.
Right?
I was going there.
I mean, he had those guys before it was even a thing, like slowing down to freaking ramp up.
You're going to read Zen Mind.
I've read it.
You're going to read a beginner's
so
guide.
Imagine doing that with a little. I've read it.
A beginner's guide to Zen Buddhism.
To the high schoolers.
Lao Tzu.
Middle school kids.
All of that.
So now you think about middle school kids, and there's a way to filter and make it appropriate for a 10-year-old, but in just little subtle ways, because youth sports is now win. Oh, you're not getting it done. Beat it, right?
Right.
So what do they say? The sign of a great U11 coach is not, oh, he won the championship. Did all kids come back for U12?
Right.
It's that simple. So I know I didn't mean to interrupt that, but those are the cool things.
No, I think it's great. I think what I wanted to ask you is, do you see communication being the biggest missing factor?
Yeah, being able, eyes on eyes, tall spine, being able to look and
that's you over there, eyes on eyes.
Eyes on eyes.
And I don't necessarily mean.
I keep looking over this way a little more than the other way. Yes, that
player to coach.
That and slowing
I'm speaking
down.
more player to player.
That and slowing down. So we kind of categorize that as like breathing meditation, right? We're not making the kids do like yoga and like they should, but like the Zen master stuff. But they're so wired.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to take 20 minutes to some of the things we ask the kids are like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put a phone away, no earbuds, nothing. Go for a walk on the trail for 10 minutes. Nothing. Just you with your thoughts. Just relax for a second. And they're like, why would I do that? But the kids are so programmed to be next thing. And that's fine if they can handle it and they have a good schedule. But yes, communication and slowing down are always the most, like the lowest kind of strength percentage.
My last question.
And being able to talk about themselves. Tell me about yourself.
My last question for you. 2.5 years now?
Pretty much, yeah. I think, yeah.
Certainly, I can't ask you to give me a kid's name, and I don't want that. Who do you have a kid in it or kids that you're working with currently that are year one guys or girls for you that you have seen the slowdown also affect how they're doing it in the classroom?
So you think the slowdown like helps them in the classroom?
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm not a teacher, and I'm not going to sit there and help a kid with physics, I'm like, oh, that's another organization that can help you with that. Yeah, it's the time management of it, right? And so looking at their weeks, and it takes a while for a kid to change, like me.
Well, that's why I'm
21
asking.
years,
That's why I'm asking 2.5 years.
To
that's
change their
I couldn't
habits.
just say the kid you got today, yesterday, and maybe he's by the end of this year. I'm speaking to your longest tenured
day one
child from day one.
So yes, the answer is yes. I think they become way more organized, but then you're dealing with different factors of kids that might have like some ADHD or other things, which is tough, and they're doing their best, right? And they're trying, and they are they're way more present with it. Like they understand that it all means more. Like just before, they're like, yeah, I'm doing okay, and now they understand, and they're trying better. They're like scheduling their weeks more like an adult would. Like when we get together a lot, like what's happening this week and who's where and what's this and this and that. That's where I see the biggest difference. And they always tell them, like, you show me your routines, you show me your habits, and we'll show you outcomes, right? We'll show you where you're going to go. And nobody had better routines and than the best. Like I talk about Kobe all the time. Nobody outworked that guy, right?
Right.
But he also found time to step back, and he was on record and talked about breathing and just relaxing, even though it was hard for him because he's such an alpha. You know what I mean? He had to go. But it's important. So yes, Steve, that's it.
So you're saying Johnny Manziel didn't have the Kobe
Did you
routine?
watch the special on him?
I didn't even know there was a special.
Oh, you need to watch
it. It's Netflix, right? It is a 3-part series.
It's 3.
You're gonna make me watch this thing. Look,
Watch
you
that.
You got me watching Cobra Kai.
It's
Oh God.
Hey, watch Manziel and then watch Beckham. Watch the Beckham. You as a soccer guy, I know.
I'm just not a TV guy like that.
On Netflix?
I'm not a TV guy. I'm
you're always
I'm
on
a
the go.
sports and news guy.
We got to get you on the breathing.
You got to get me in the Maybe Academy.
We work with everybody, man.
You got a senior division?
Breathe it out, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk some sports, and
let's go.
We got Coach O'Neal here. It's fun times again, y'all.
You're listening to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kirk Cross.
Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other popular podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word.
And now, back to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kurt Cross.
We are back here in the studio. Coach O'Neal, Casey O'Neal, the other half of Take a TO, because T stands for Turner, O stands for O'Neal. How come my name never got in there? It can't be a TOC, Turner O'Neal Cross, a talk?
No. Take a TKO.
Oh! Are you rebranding this thing?
Let's do it.
Take
Let's
a
do
TKO.
It. I mean, I signed that. You guys had me at like 2% ownership. So like,
I mean, maybe we'll give you 3 now. Maybe we'll give you 3. Take a TKO. I like it, but it's going to be take a TO. That's what it was, and that's what it is. Let's talk NFL, guys. Redskins, Falcons. Redskins bounce back. They look like a decent enough team. I wasn't too worried that they were going to lose that game. Falcons are fair to middling, and Howell looked all right. And tell me Steve, you got something to say. Go for it, man.
No, I don't. I'm just happy we got the dub. That's all I can say.
Right?
I mean,
defense played better, although they didn't play great.
I didn't get to watch the game. I followed
You were in New York.
I followed it. I was driving back from Philly, kind of listened to it, following it, and then I watched like a recap of it. And
Right.
I think it's, I don't know, coaching is kind of suspect with these guys. And I mean, I'm sure you guys have talked about it a little bit about.
Well, you would know if you listened to the podcast.
I've listened to 2 episodes.
So either we did or did not talk about it. We're on episode 6.
I'm trying to get over not.
You're not trying to have your life so boom, 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 boom?
Yeah.
You're taking the time to relax?
Taking it to slow down. I feel like it's a lot of the same. I felt like they were lucky to get the win, to be honest with you, because Atlanta kept driving down. Psyched to see some D guys make picks and get some create some
3
turnovers.
picks, I think, yeah.
But, something's going on with coaching there. I mean, it's just some of this.
We brought it up last week. I hated to say it, but
I know you did.
It's time for change.
It's a win's a win. And how do you feel about the Giants? The Giants should have won that game last night.
the Bills, I mean, are you serious right now? Like, Josh Allen is almost doing a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing right now.
I felt like him, Jalen Hurts, and another quarterback last night was terrible. They were terrible.
Maybe Purdy, or was it your boy got hurt down in Jacksonville?
I'll be honest, it's been a weird.
It's been
a very weird year,
season.
right?
I want to touch on Sam Howell though, because I heard you say Sam was all right. So are you not a believer in this young man or no?
Oh, no, I like Sam Howell.
I love the fact
This is his seventh start. Seventh start.
right.
You know?
And we were talking in the last segment about like outcome. All these quarterbacks that come in, with the exception of Johnny Manziel,
Right.
he wrote his own thing down. But look at Peyton Manning. His first season, full season, threw the most interceptions like ever by a quarterback. Right. Troy Aikman, 1 in 15. We don't give, like Aaron Rodgers, like we don't give these guys enough time. And
Well, because they're seeing Brock Purdy put out stats and numbers right away, and that's what every team wants. There's no patience.
But I love what this kid with Sam Howell is like he goes up and the Bills absolutely throttled him. What does he do the next week? He goes in and plays his butt off against the Eagles. I mean, this kid he battles. I love seeing that. Those people come back from that. So
I need him to not take so many hits, though, too.
I went to the Bears game.
You were there? I was there.
Were you?
Section 138, row 18.
I wasn't. I was like section 200. So I was like, you're down there in the nice seats. I'm
Right. I mean, I spent a little bit of money.
to something.
You know,
I got told I was getting taken to the game and never got called.
But that line, even losing.
Not by me, by him.
The vibe was a little bit
neither one of
better.
you.
The vibe overall at FedEx, which was always terrible.
It was a much better vibe.
But our line, like seeing it live
Awful.
in person,
Awful.
I'm like,
Well, that's the biggest problem.
It's awful, Casey.
in person makes it.
I was in
look
the end zone
a million times worse.
that we kept getting scored on. Yeah, I was right down there. And like you said, I saw Felipe there. I told you that. It was a totally different vibe. But you know what else it was different? I used to be a season ticket holder. A lot of young folks.
A lot of young folks, they have a little bit more vibe. I went to the opening Cardinal game.
Okay.
Met DJ Cool.
You know what else I saw?
Took pictures, right?
Yeah.
I saw that.
You know what else I saw?
Could have been nicer.
All these,
Oh, the ladies.
all the
You got real hair.
so-and-sos are on their phones just watching all the stats because they're on FanDuel or whatever. I saw a lot of that. The guys behind me said, dude, how much battery do you have? He's like, not good. He's like, I got to watch my parlays. Right.
Like anytime bets.
I said, I'm on 97%, guys.
They're like, can I see your phone, man?
Right, they're like,
quickly download.
He's like, don't offer that to us because we might take you up on it.
Oh, wow.
Like, seriously, but it was a different vibe.
It's
Backyard
different.
was there.
Yes.
Backyard was playing on the concourse. It was a
Yeah.
different vibe. I tell you what we did do, though. Me and my three kids, me and Paula and our two kids,
Was Paul, it was decked out in the Bills.
$75 on food. $75 on food. And you know what else we had to
That's
do?
not that good.
It's just okay.
It's okay.
It was the anniversary of Paula's father passing, and so we had a beer, for him. I'm not a beer drinker. I spent $16.95 on one damn beer.
What kind of beer did you get?
I got not the one that people hate now because of Kid Rock, the other one.
Oh, Miller Lite?
That would be the one I got because they don't like Bud Light. Some people, right?
No, Bud Light's a sponsor of the Redskins, of the Commanders.
Now, who did it? Whatever,
Anyway, sure.
Whatever Kid Rock does, I did the other one.
Plain and simple.
I spent $17 on damn beer
Hey.
that I had 2 sips of just to honor her father, which we didn't mind doing. I don't drink beer.
Dan, you could have given it to me.
It was $16.90. You were always. I don't want to go all the way up to that section.
I was just
Too
walk
far
up.
behind. I'll tell you what, though, buying the good parking and sitting where we did, I was home in 35 minutes. I got out
cool.
before everybody else, and I did not leave early because we had the closest parking, so we were boom out instead of walking all the way.
They've made adjustments. It's better in and out. It's even losing to the Bears, which was a huge bummer, and losing to the Bills. Like the vibe, it's just better.
It's a different vibe. I'm sorry, Steve. You were going to say something.
I was going to say I heard that getting out of there has been way better.
It was. 49ers and the Eagles got upset, gentlemen. I have no problem saying at 12:48 yesterday, I texted my boy and said, because, the Browns and the 49ers, they had a little pregame scuffle. I
didn't see that.
I said, mark my words, this is not going to be a pushover. They're going to put up a fight today. And they did, and damn it if Cleveland didn't win that game. They played 49ers tough.
Yeah, look, Deebo Samuel going down. I think McCaffrey going down
was down
as
for a
well.
bit, yeah.
So then you see what Purdy does without those weapons. But the Browns' defense is slowly but surely becoming like a problem. A problem.
You know who else is becoming a problem? Detroit.
Detroit at 5-1.
They're becoming a problem.
You think that's real or fake? I think it's real.
I think it's real.
Because it's been building for a few years now.
I think it's
right?
real.
But the people of Detroit,
And they're starting to get a lot of love about it too.
I know, but I keep thinking of Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. And like everyone's like, Detroit's going, and all of a sudden they get somewhere. Whoop.
Well, they're not winning the Super Bowl. They're not doing that.
But I'm just saying, like, it's like the Jets this year. Even though the Jets defense, holy mackerel.
Without Aaron Rodgers, I got the right quarterback this time. Just give me credit for that. And Aaron Rodgers, did he play in the NESCAC? I mean, we got to talk NESCAC, right?
Oh God,
He did not go to Amherst or Tufts or Wesleyan or Williams.
Without Aaron
Name
Rodgers,
the college where Aaron Rodgers went. Don't say it. Do you know?
I don't know college football like that. You tell me.
It's Cal. He's Cal Bear.
Cal Bears.
Berkeley.
Okay. The Jets are looking not half bad for a team who we all wrote off 38 seconds into the season, right?
That was sad. But defense. Look, if you have a defense
They beat
like
the Bills
like,
in that
like
first game based
them,
on defense.
You have a defense like them, which if he was there, it'd be they'd be pretty unstoppable. But
Right.
you have a defense like that, 85 Bears, and you think of
The Ravens.
the Ravens, the Buccaneers, the year they won with that defense.
Right.
You can do things. You keep the score at 13 or 10, whatever the team has. You just keep putting that pressure on. It's like, hopefully who's the quarterback for the Jets filling in? He closes his eyes and he makes one of those passes work. You never know.
Every now and then it works. Steve, so what you got the NFC? You said this has been a weird year, and it has been a weird year. The Redskins can play, or the Commanders can play the Eagles tough, then get smoked by the Bears. Then the Eagles can get beat. The 49ers can get beat. Buffalo doesn't lay an egg, but they might as well have gotten beat. A last-second, maybe PI call saved them.
Yeah.
Right? The Patriots can't win a damn game.
I don't think any of the
Miami's kind of decent.
but I don't think anyone's hit their strides.
Right?
Like
And that's normal.
But I think it's a good thing for the game.
Right.
That you'll see
Good games.
you can see good games early, and then you're just going to see the cream rise to the top as you start heading to the playoffs.
So who is that cream this year, though?
I think it's San Francisco and Philly in the NFC.
I would agree.
And then I think you got anywhere from, I think Buffalo, Cincinnati always does this. They're going to start, speaking of another good defense.
No, but he got hurt.
But they're still, that's the way they kind of trend. I think it's a much more, there's more parity in the AFC to see who's going to go through it.
I think it's Miami or Buffalo's to win. I'm not sold on Kansas City.
Look, if the Commanders Redskins do not make a move, I would love to see that aforementioned Lions make a run. That'd be pretty badass to see them.
Well, they need an offensive line. They need to invest some money in an offensive line, period. I think that will take some pressure off the defense. I think Del Rio needs to go. I mean, he has a couple of good games that he's able to coach on the defensive side, and now we have some great defense. We got Montez Sweat. We got blah 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 blah. Del Rio, we're giving up too many big plays to the Bears. The Bears
On 3rd and 18 twice. We were like, what?
The Bears. Come on, dog. No. I think changes need to be made in Ashburn there. Steve.
Oh, I know you thought I was coming in here today with a cheesesteak. I know what you think.
You take the script then, Steve.
I know
you read it then.
I know where you're going. You said, Steve, I know where you're going.
I'm going to MLB. How about that?
No, you weren't going there. You were going to
What?
That WNBA,
Right?
and my team got one.
They got one because the Aces wanted to make more money for the league. That's why they let y'all have that one. Look, the Liberty have been getting smoked. Period. They've been getting smoked. Right? Tell me I'm wrong. John Quell finally showed up, and they win one yesterday. You think we're going 5 still? I think we probably are. I'm scared that we're going to go 5. I don't want us to.
As you said, the WNBA wants to make money, so we're going 5.
We're going 5? All right. But Vegas has looked sharp as hell in Vegas.
They're the best team.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Liberty's been the team that's had their number.
Right.
So
yeah.
that makes it dangerous.
Right.
That's why I take that bet.
We have a cheesesteak on who's going to win the WNBA Finals. I'm going with...
From SoCo Butcher. Have you been to SoCo Butcher?
Mm-mm. Man, you need to go to SoCo Butcher. He sent me there 3 weeks ago. First of all, let me explain something to you that he did not explain to me. I'm going to do you a favor, Casey. If you go to SoCo Butcher, don't order 2 cheesesteaks. It's enough for you and Erica to chow down and have leftovers.
Just one.
The thing is huge. The thing will take up almost this whole thing, and it's just overstuffed.
You know where I ate today? Santucci's.
Let me say this.
I had the cold cut.
4 Corners?
4 Corners.
Yeah.
Santucci still has great subs, but
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's...
But this steak and cheese rivals Philly.
It does.
It could be in the top 5 in Philly.
I should have gotten one. I was just there.
SoCo Butcher?
I just want to get home.
SoCo Butcher. You have to go and get a steak and
SoCo
cheese.
Butcher. I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
Ethan Allen and Carroll Avenue.
It's Cohen Park.
It's Cohen Park, Maryland.
SOKO.
It's right up the street from me.
Yeah, SoCo Butcher. You look it up, and I went there. Me and my mom went there. So I'm like, Mom, you want to go to lunch? My man told me about SoCo Butcher. They got a great butcher section, too, with meats and all that. They make burgers. They make all that stuff.
Spell it again.
SOKO.
They're on the gram. Hit them on the gram.
Yeah, SOKO Butcher.
Look at this. Look at the stuff that they make. You will.
They're going to set you back a few dollars, though. Steak and cheese like $16, $17.
Like the beers at FedEx Field.
Yes, it is. But it's big enough for you.
It's better than the beer at FedEx Field.
They're talking about the cost.
And that's what I'm saying. The cost is worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Pound for pound, that's way better than the beer at FedEx Field.
Damn, I'm hungry now.
So get to SOKO. They're closed now, probably, but you can go there tomorrow. WNBA, the Aces are off to a fast start. New York got theirs last night. And I wonder, they don't play. I'm sick of this WNBA thing. We play Sunday, we play Wednesday, we play Sunday. I think they're trying to make space for Monday Night Football and do some other things.
I'm sure.
Because they got to get their audience, because unfortunately the audience isn't where you or I would like to see it, right? Let's move to WCAC football. Good Counsel DeMatha did an overtime thing this weekend. Good Counsel got the best of them. Not a surprise to you. Closer than I thought it would be. It's still Good Counsel's to win. Or to lose.
I think it's definitely that, and they just put themselves in the driver's seat.
They did. St. John's beat McNamara. Now, do McNamara St. John's have any say-so in anything anymore?
In terms of?
What do you mean?
Playoffs and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I'm not just on the football side.
It's
like
five
that.
teams. The best four get in.
Okay. All right. So, well, just don't be last.
So St. John's essentially assured that they're in the playoff.
So who's going to be last on that side?
Well, I guess
Right now, the fight is us and McNamara.
Really? Okay. We'll go beat McNamara and you're done.
So it's McNamara and then they Good Counsel St. John's for
well,
the
no,
Eagles.
it's
that's who they play in consecutive weeks coming up. For McNamara,
for
Good
Gonzaga.
Counsel,
Well, coming up, St. John's has DeMatha,
McNamara.
Gonzaga has McNamara.
We have McNamara, Good Counsel, St. John's.
Yeah, don't be. I mean, anything can happen, you know.
Right,
and it's and we've seen it before. You just get in there, and you go play a great semifinal game, and
right.
You never know.
Well, I'll tell you that I don't know that St. John's would have beaten Good Counsel, but they were without their starting quarterback. Looked better this week, but there were some mistakes. I did not see any of the DeMatha Good Counsel game. Do anybody have any intel on that?
One of my players was there. He said it was a very good game, hard fought between both teams, and he felt the same way I felt. Better team won in the end.
You have a bye week this week, right?
No, we had a bye. We just had a bye.
I'm sorry. The bye week is for Good Counsel, and then they play you. Right. How you feeling about that one?
We got to win this week. I can't worry about next week.
You can't worry about next week till next week?
Well, a win this weekend could be close to securing you a locked in spot.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to go on.
No, it's the opportunity.
I mean, unless something crazy, you know, McNamara goes beats
something
or something.
In the coin toss.
St. John's DeMatha, who you got?
I don't know enough about the teams. I know the Good Counsel. It seems like might be the most talented, but St. John's,
they're big.
I think St. John's may be the more talented team. Mm-hmm. But let's see how much better they've gotten in a week.
In the discipline department?
With their court. No, DeMatha too. DeMatha had 15
unforced errors
against us.
Right, okay.
So right now, they're two of the teams in the league that I think are probably the most penalized.
Yeah.
So that could be the deciding factor between those two teams, because talent for talent, they're probably close to each other.
Okay.
I think St. John's is maybe a little older. Mm-hmm. And it's going to come down to the duel of the quarterbacks. And if St. John's quarterback is back to form after being out for a week and getting through the cobwebs of last week, probably going to be a great game.
MLB, Rangers, Astros, Diamondbacks, Phillies. Someone's going to the World Series. We don't want it to be the Phillies, right?
Go D-backs. Scottsdale this time of year is beautiful, man. So I don't know why we're not all rooting for them.
And I guess the Rangers, because the Astros have been there 37 times in the last 38 years.
Sometimes cheating, sometimes not.
Sometimes, I mean, they're
Well, they're down 2-0. They're in a hole.
They've got the cheat code. But I want to move over to this. Dodgers, Orioles were both swept and their Braves are out. And I don't think the prognosticators would have called that one. What happened to the Dodgers?
I mean, look, consistency speaks a lot. The Dodgers are, I feel like, in at least the last decade, have always been there. And but with the exception of that 1 year, and I feel like the year they won it all was kind of an odd year. But yeah, they've kind of not lived up to that payroll you know what I mean?
Right.
like not gotten it done, which is a little
You
bit
like the Mets, who had the highest payroll?
Well, no, the Dodgers actually get to the playoffs. The Mets somewhere like in the second month of the season, like this guy gets hurt, that happens, and then go on like a 20.
Before the All-Star
like
break,
the Mets. I mean, they've been to the playoffs.
we do well before the All-Star break.
I think the biggest crusher of all those, the Dodgers one is, that's you've got a payroll, and what they do to not get it done is frustrating. Atlanta, at least they won the World Series. Was it 2 years ago? And the Orioles is the crusher, but
they're young.
They're very young, and it was neat to see a city and a fan base get so excited about that, and say what
you said about the.
Well, the problem that the Orioles have right now is they're young, they need pitching, and they only have one or two key players under contract.
Yeah.
That's their issue. They need to get these people signed. And
they never spend money.
They don't spend money.
No.
They don't spend money. So how do you keep that? Well, first of all, it's not together because they're not under contract.
Right.
So they have no obligation to return. You did get a city. I mean, I saw people coming out of the woodworks rooting for. You see those Orioles, and the Orioles were terrible earlier this year.
They played some great.
Next thing I know, they're in
year.
first place, and that's great for them. I'm not a turncoat. I'm not going to root for them. But
I'll say it begs the question too. You win the East, and then it's exciting, and then you go, and there's something to be said about playing in that first division, or whatever round it is.
They had a week off,
round.
right?
You're off for a week, man. The mojo and the timing of hitting, you just can't replicate it.
But you get to reset your lineup, your pitching rotation at least.
Correct, but again, just the conconsistency. You
having
saw
those guys
those
in the mix.
The Rangers were just fighting and scrapping and playing against who did the Rangers beat? The Rays. That's another sad story. The Rays are so consistent and do so well, and then you literally look at a playoff game in their stands, and it's like half full.
It's Florida. No one wants to be there. I mean,
it's called Champa Bay, according to all the folks down there.
Okay, well,
the Lightning, the Rays,
Lightning
the
won
Bucks.
one, didn't they?
Yeah, they won 2, I think. Anyway, so I think there's something to be said. I go back to my 2019 Nats. They had to play the play-in game, and then boom, go to play the Dodgers. Like,
you mean pre-COVID Nats?
Yeah, when we won the World Series.
Without Harper.
Without Bryce.
And Bryce is in the thick of it now. He's in the championship series now.
I will say, I know how you feel, Casey. I see it all over your face. But the picture that they caught of him rounding the bases, looking
when he stared at dude.
Oh, that might be one of the baddest pictures taken in sport.
He's a beast. He's a robot.
That's a poster-worthy picture.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a beast.
You want to talk about the Orioles needing to retool or sign their people. The Yankees and Red Sox are going to spend some money because they are not.
They don't care. They don't mind.
They don't care.
But I'm saying they're going to spend the money. They're going to be the ones to watch out for because they didn't make it.
That's who's going to steal all our O's.
There you go. Yankees and the Red Sox. They never made it, so they're going to.
That's wild, by the way.
Scott Blair will be crying.
That is wild, by the way.
What's that?
No Yankees and Red. You know what I mean? In the exact. I think it's the first time in a long time that neither one of them.
Right, and the Yankees were fighting just not to be last.
It was crazy. Well, look, we drove by the stadium. That's because we're near where we played.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of eerie just to see it.
Ghost town
there with no one around.
Is that what it was? No one was around, huh? We talked about this last week, or I tried to do this last week, and maybe I got it, maybe I didn't. But where the hell is it, Steve? Oh man,
I think you lost it.
I did not. Is that Yankee Stadium right now?
It's crickets.
Sounds like a big ass cricket, man.
Maybe it's a whole cricket family. Do you hate the crickets or something?
No,
it's a cricket family.
Just don't jump. No, the spider crickets, I could do without. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Never
about
walk in your basement at a certain time of year. The thing comes at you.
It's like now. It's when it starts getting cold. It's disgusting.
They just jump at you.
They're nasty.
Harmless, but when they jump,
they're gross.
You can have all that. Hey, we're going to wrap this thing up in a minute. We'll be right back with more Take a TO with Coach O'Neill in the building.
Oh.
You're listening to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kirk Cross.
Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other popular podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word.
You're listening to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kirk Cross. And now, back to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner and your host, Kurt Cross.
Welcome back to Take a TO with Coach Steve Turner. I'm your host, Kurt Cross, and of course, we are happy to have Coach Casey O'Neill in the studio with us once again. So, Coach O'Neill, here we go. We got to do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Can we get you at least once a season?
Maybe more.
That's twice a year.
I talked to Eric about that.
I didn't ask you for more than once. I said once. Can you stop? Give him an inch and he takes a mile.
Is the question store closed?
Don't
You're asking me the question.
Don't give me no microphone.
Don't.
Where's Chrissy when you need her? She could be dinging both of us right now, right?
She could be. She could be.
Coach O'Neill, look, it's great to hear about Mabry Academy.
Thank you.
It's more than what I knew. I think I had you in here on the Conversations with Curtis podcast at one point, and it wasn't what it is today. You know, Mabry Academy has grown.
Yeah, we are learning and we're growing, and we are trial and error and learning from mistakes, but continually just trying to stay like persistent with what works. So I appreciate that. And we back at TO, we interviewed Mike. You all got to get a window into Mike, and he was. I mean, obviously, I think you guys took a lot from that. What a great young man he is, and so. It's rocking and rolling. There's a lot of things happening in the world right now, and life is going fast, almost too fast. But I'm really blessed, and I'm blessed to be here tonight. It's so great to see you both. So thank you.
What we did not do is the same thing that I've done with you. You can't do this without Erica and your kids supporting you. Mm-hmm. So we got to give them some love, right?
Yes.
Well, tell them thank you.
I will. But if you better take the glasses off for a second, man. You give me this piercing.
What's up?
Much love to my two little girls, my big boy, and my beautiful wife.
Well, that's important, though.
Who is the smartest, strongest, toughest, most beautiful woman in the world. So thank you.
Because you can't do it without them. You have to know that they have your back and they believe in what you're doing.
Nothing better than family. You guys know that.
Absolutely. Steve, what's the word? Where are you sending me to get a meal next? You got a recommendation for me?
Nothing right now.
Roy Rogers.
You know I love me some Roy Rogers.
Get the holster. I still have my holster.
Hey, hold on.
Put them up.
You know what I got? I still got my sheriff badge. I got my sheriff badge. We got badges one year.
Oh, wow.
Look, folks, we thank you for listening. Spread the word. Find us on Instagram. Find us on Facebook. We got the page. Find us on Buzzsprout and iHeartRadio and Spotify and wherever you get your podcast content. We're going to be there. We're going to be here next week for another episode. And, Coach, you know what we got to do next week? It's our WCAC Hoops preview.
Steve, I'm so excited to watch your games this year.
Oh, yeah.
No pressure.
I was never pressured.
Never pressure bust pipes.
We talked about
knows what he's doing.
Nobody can put more pressure on myself than me.
I believe that to be true. So we're going to do WCAC hoops. So all of you DMV hoopsters and basketball lovers, we're going to chop it all up. We're going to talk some pro sports, but our major segment is going to be WCAC hoops in that preview, what that looks like. From Good Counsel to McNamara to the Heights to Gonzaga, St. John's, DeMatha. Boy, we're going to talk some hoops. You cover the boys' side, I'll do some of the girls' side. How about that?
Let's go.
Coach Casey O'Neill, thank you for being here in the studio, sir.
God bless y'all.
We'll see you next time. Spread the word, folks.